Hey guys, how's it going? So, another week, another mobile suit, and this week we have the Mark IV. And again, I'm going to go through the PC stuff as well. Stick around for that. I will try to put a timestamp because this is a unit adjustment patch. So, for those who don't know, they do actually come out with some pretty nice buffs and nerfs. So, this video is definitely going to be longer if you're here for just the PC stuff and you want to just wait for that. The last thing I will cover will be the unit adjustment if you want to kind of go back a little bit before that, but I will put a timestamp for the PC stuff when that starts. Other than that though, kind of odd. We actually got a newsletter for the Mark IV and stuff, and we've got unit adjustments on the 22nd. So let's get the tinfoil hat nice and snug. Normally, we have the anniversary event on July 28th. It was the last year's one. It typically starts the last week of July. We had the Mega Funnel Sazabi last month. So, I think we're going to have the Mega Funnel new next week. But, there's only one thing about that. Normally, you can tell when the 700 is coming by the actual clan match itself. In this case, is only saying 300, which is a little odd, but it's not unheard of that we have a low cost and then we get a really high cost suit. This could be one of those cases. Now, the other idea that I have is they're going to start a event that counts down to the anniversary event, or it's an event to count down to the new Mega Funnel sometime around halfway in the month, and then we got like a couple of weeks, and then there's anniversary. So it's probably a countdown to one of those, or we're just getting the Mega Funnel next week, and there's an event that is counting down to the anniversary. We might get, one of those boxes a day that you can go ahead and spend on. That way it gets people to, get rid of their tokens. That kind of deal. Definitely not unheard of. So, that's my theory. That's what I think is going on. Probably one of those. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but I think it's definitely going to be something around that. Then, Mark IV. Let's go ahead and get into it. What do I think of it? Well, let's go ahead and go to the video here. Let's talk about what it has, and I'll show some of the stats, and we'll go through it. Main beam rifle. Cannon. Seems like it stuns. I've only been really hit consistently from what I've played against it with the double hit, which does have a really good build-up stun. I was in a flight type, which you need 80% while it's moving. I was in the Isolde, which actually, if you're sitting still, has even higher threshold to get knocked out of the sky, and it knocked me out of the sky while I was boosting. So it's at least 80% on build up from those two shots if you full charge the cannon. That's kind of nice. Then it has the incom, which will stun in 3 hits, which can be, results may vary there with incoms, but it has okay damage. Then you have the long beam saber, which is really nice, same as like the Mark V. You can get those long melee, very long range melee hits in that gets pretty good utility, and it's always nice for just melee combos. You get a stun, you get that extra reach for anybody who's a little slow on the reaction to boost forward and hit, or you get a little more range that you can start your stun combo from as well. So that's always nice. Now, it has a gimmick. It has stealth that you can toggle between stealth and the false flag skill. This one actually might be useful. Obviously there's the time wasted, and there's that argument of like stealth suits, especially false flag suits that are generals, because you're not necessarily doing your general job most of the time when you're doing this, but if you're causing enough disruption, could be okay. Now, the main thing is you could go stealth, then you go to a spawn point, turn on the false flag, and then you walk up behind somebody. Then you actually look like a teammate who spawned in. This is a whole lot better. I like this. But, again, are you wasting too much time? And that's the big gimmick. Now, I do think it pays a little bit of the gimmick tax in the damage department. I haven't seen one pop off yet. Maybe it's just people aren't comboing well enough with it. Or maybe it really doesn't have the really good damage it needs. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't know if the incom will actually lock on while you're doing your combo. That's always normally a better situation if you can get a lock on while doing everything else really quick. Maybe it's not as quality of life of an incom as some other lock-on mechanics with funnels or incoms. That could be a thing as well. But as you can see, the damage, not bad. 1,000 per shot. As far as everything else, I've looked at the damage, pretty solid across the board. So it's a solid suit, and we can kind of see that reflected in the stats. Now, the shield, which I don't have the picture up here, does have 10k health, and just kind of like the Mark V shield, essentially. But, like I would argue with the Mark V shield, I don't really hit the shield too much, so it pays the big shield tax, which it kind of shouldn't, but it does, with the 17,500 health in this case, and middle ground defenses with 16, 28, 22. Then we have range 25 and melee 35 for damage. Not bad. 135 movement, top speed 220, 65 thruster, and 69 nice turning speed. This also gives us 15 close range parts, 23, which is interesting, kind of odd there, for medium parts, and only 6 for the long range parts. Really curious to kind of see what, fits for a pretty good part setup on this one. Overall, though, you definitely are going to do melee defense, and I would probably do something with thruster, especially if you're going to take advantage of trying to do the stealth thing and getting behind an enemy team. Now, I think, too, the strategy is going to be, if you are doing that, you get in there, you pop your jammer, and then you start causing chaos. Now, definitely, as a support main, it definitely affects supports a lot more than it does anybody else when you pop the jamming thing. I get so annoyed when I'm playing against anything that is jamming. It's definitely something I need to get better at, but hey, it is what it is, though. Jamming does affect some people, but it's not the craziest deal. It just kind of disrupts the enemy team a little bit. I think at the higher play, it definitely isn't as effective, and that's why I hate when they pay the gimmick tax, when they start doing jamming stuff, and, especially this one having stealth and false flag. But, let's go and get to the skills. Surprisingly enough, they're good. I can't complain here. We got power accelerator level 2, we got a dodge roll. That's pretty solid. It's got markers, so you can actually target your teammates with the artillery. Not bad. Of course, it has the stealth and fake beacon and the device to swap between them. Force injector 2 is insane, and you can do the job of a support, meaning this could be a suit you use in a non-support team to kind of still get that observational data link, which is kind of nice. Overall, not bad. I'm, kind of impressed here. So it might have a pretty interesting spot in the game, and again, as a general, it seems to be at least solid. Now, for some, that might be the problem because it means it's actually balanced, but I don't think you are getting a bad suit if you get this. Now, would I spend my tokens on it right now, especially with anniversary and stuff coming up? Probably not. So with everything said there, I am definitely saving. I did one spin, did not get it. Of course, got a new weapon. Surprised it was new, and that's going to be it. So, what else do we have in the rest of the patch? It is the Cascade and the Despota, getting a level 2 of each of those. So now they're at 600 instead of just 550. Overall, Cascade really good. Despota, I haven't really seen it too much, and when I have, it hasn't been doing too much. And looks like I was kind of right about it just being probably meh, because they're buffing it this patch. So we'll take a look at that here in a second. But is it going to be better now? This is one of those things when they come out with a dual banner, you could get the one you don't want, even though there's a boosted rate for both of them. And personally, I really want the Cascade. I think it's insane for supports, and I think it adds something really interesting that you can play around with that is kind of like the HML Zeta that supports have, but this one is a lower cost at 550, and I think it gets even better than what the HML does when it gets on low health, and you can pop this one, I believe you use it as an ability, kind of like the Unicorn or something like that. But yeah, pretty awesome with what the Cascade can actually do. And its base damage is insane. So yeah, gonna go probably one more spin for this. I did do another single on this and got another new weapon. Again, surprising I got a new weapon, but it happens. Next, we got the other stuff they added. These will go over in the buffs and nerfs. But surprisingly enough, they added something else from the newsletter. The modified Rick Deja is getting a different type of clay bazooka, or sorry, shrapnel bazooka. Instead of it being the clay bazooka, it is its own custom clay bazooka. So, main thing, it's way better, which is kind of insane. Then we got the previous unit adjustments. Since we're doing it so much more, and this one's already taken a minute, we'll do that really quick. Other than that, if somebody's planting a bomb, you got a thing showing that they're planting a bomb now, or defusing a bomb. Kind of cool. In the ticket shop, we have the Zaku Desert type, Garibaldi Alpha, Hymo. The Rizel, is this just level 2? Dewas Custom, GM2 Semi-Striker, Zaku Diver, and the Goof Heavy Arms type. Now, the big winners here are definitely the Goof Heavy Arms type and the Zaku Desert type. For sure, really good suits. Recommend trying those out. Next up, that I am getting personally, or I've already got, is the Hymo and the Zaku Diver. Sadly, I think the Semi-Striker and the Dewas Custom aren't as crazy, but again, if you're a raid player, Semi-Striker, not that bad. Sadly, the Dewas Custom, while it was insane when it first came out, has gotten power creeped because it's kind of like the Peasant Dewaj, only slightly better, but it's 50 cost higher, and because of that, it kind of loses some of its effect, being at 450 instead of 400, where I think the Peasant Dewaj still kind of has a place at 400 cost. Rizel, at that point it's level 2, so if you want it, cool. If not, it's the problem when you get the higher level of suits. Sometimes they get a little less effective. Then in the DP store, we have the Full Armor Gundam Mark II, level 1 and 2. So you can go buy those if you have a high enough rank. And the Deja SER, level 3. At that point, power creep, and, it's over-leveled at that point. So, not that great. They got some fixes in here. I didn't see anything too crazy, but some of these, like the reaction stuff, I never run into that. But resist move, quick turn, and reverse can end up getting stunned, even though you shouldn't get stunned with it. So there's a fix there. That's really nice. They did say something about this, actually. I'm going to look at this. We got ranged weapon, beam shot, Siske defense. Okay, never mind. I was hoping they would say something about the mega funnel getting, better, like AI and actually not flying behind a building and shooting it. But oh well. Then we already kind of looked at that. So we got 300 coming next week, and we got a 600 coming this weekend. So there'll be that. Other than that, we have the buffs and nerfs. Let's go to the previous ones, though, real quick. And I opened up the same one, looks like. Whoops. We'll quickly go and swap these. But as you can see there, the Despota getting some buffs. I'll try to keep a couple of those a little brief, as, some of them are just, skills that don't really mean much. But here we go. Rebawu. I'm curious to see this. Mainly, its damage went up. Like, it was already, it's overperforming at level 1. And now it looks like it's doing pretty solid at level 2. No big deal. And this, actually, wait, they're not showing the adjustment. Was this all level 2? Never mind, this was all level 2. Okay. I thought they did one thing that also buffed the normal version. But as you can see, it didn't need anything at all. Gustav Karl looks like it's doing okay. As far as win rate, it's doing fine. But as far as damage, it's definitely the tanky frontliner that you want on your team. But sadly, it definitely doesn't do the damage. But it definitely can frontline like nothing else. Oshimar, looking good. Definitely try that out now. It is insane, guys. Look at those stats. Virulent. Oh, there we go. Literally what I was trying. I like it now. I think it's pretty cool. I've been playing around with it. Seems pretty nice. Then we got the Hyakushiki. Feels insane. Go try that one out. I mean, again, look at the stats. Pixie. Kind of surprised to see it getting, some pretty okay damage numbers. Not going to lie. It still feels pretty bad, I think. Now, again, having 175 range rather than 100 definitely makes that feel better. Your gun is actually usable. rather than you literally only have your blades and that's it. So that's probably what it is. You're probably actually able to stun something without being in melee range for it. Then we have the Goof Custom. It gets a buff. Oh, wow, it's actually up to about average. Okay, so I know there's a lot of people that's been using it on PC, so there's something to look forward to. Then we have the Jesta Shezar Team A. I didn't think this needed a buff, but yeah, now it's terrifying, by the way, just saying. I am very scared. The 00 got a buff, which I was really surprised. I didn't think it needed it, and now it's definitely an even bigger powerhouse on the console, which sadly I did not get on PC, and I really wish I got it, especially after seeing those stats. Sheesh. Then we got the Heavy Arms type Gyaradoga. Going up a little bit, still looks like it's a little low. Win rate doing fine though, looks like, and I can't wait to try this on the PC version once the patch goes in. Now, for the rest of it, we got the Despada. Now here's this month's patch. We got 1,000 health on it, and a bunch of stats going for reload time. All of its weapons pretty much getting something. So 18 to 15 reload on the Psyrod, 20 to 15 reload on the large missile. I don't know what the attack initiation is, but probably animation windup for the Psyrod. With the Despada, large missile. There's guidance performance after shooting, which that's always an amazing quality of life. And swap time shortened. Cooldown for the beam sabers is now 3 seconds rather than 3.5. And the missile launcher is going to a 10-second reload. Overall, looks like it's kind of okay, but just lacking barely. Hopefully this isn't too much of a buff, but I was not seeing it. So yeah, I think this is fine. Gundam ground type. Kind of interesting that this is getting a buff. The main thing is we're getting a lot of stat increases. We're getting both melee damage and range damage and 1,500 health. I don't think this is going to be enough, but it's always nice to see them go back and hit older suits. It's getting cooling efficiency as well and turn speed. But again, I mean, you know, it's going to help out at all levels, but at high levels, kind of meh. And then at low levels, it's, I mean, just look at the stats. It's very lacking. So, probably needs some more. At this point, probably just power creeped into oblivion. The one I was really surprised here, though, is the White Dingo. They're giving Exodia a lower cooldown, 35 seconds from 40 seconds overheat time. Then it's also gaining melee damage, some stats across the board, speed increase a bit, thruster, turn speed, and then some stats that really aren't that crazy. But on the same thing of reducing the heat time, we're getting some medium slots, which means you can put parts that reduce it even further, which was one of the problems. You could only fit one part on it to begin with. Now with it upgraded, might be pretty solid of a suit to actually take out, and it's not so much of just a meme that you shoot once and then you run around and follow up with your melee and just follow a teammate around. So this could be pretty solid of a suit to actually use. I am really curious to see this stat next month. The Kaplant. Now, as far as what was in the newsletter, it can fire its double beams in the fly mode, so that's really nice. Other than that, though, a lot of times we get a buff. So, with the buff this time, 1,000 health at all levels, really nice. Damage control, which is huge at this point, especially with a suit that wide, feels really good. And then we get some kind of just, one raid skill here being maneuver armor, and other than that, just some buffer things at level 3 and 4. Personally, I'd probably only use this at level 1, maybe 2. 3 and 4, 650 and 700, definitely a little too high for it. It will definitely get bullied with what's out there. Now, Rick Diaz 2, got to see this against me. This thing actually feels really nice now. It felt really bad to fight against, but hey, I mean, that's a good sign. Rick Diaz 2 was very awesome, able to fight generals pretty easily with its heavy stun double barrel. It gets 2,000 health. We're getting leg buffers, reaction boosts, so nothing too crazy for these skills. The main thing is the melee boost at level 2 and up, which fair enough, you could use level 2. I probably wouldn't use it any higher. I'm definitely going to be using it at level 1. We get a stagger accumulation value increased for the Mega Beam Gun Double Barrel. So this should be nice. Hopefully we can get better stuns just shooting it normally without having to full charge it for the heavy. And then the Rick Diaz 2 Beam Saber at level 2 gaining some damage. Same with the Vulcans gaining some damage. But it's also gaining some utility across the board. Downswing damage is going up. Range for the Vulcans is going up by 50, which is always nice, considering these stun really quick, like the GBO2's Vulcans. And the reload has been shortened to 10 seconds. So definitely try that one out. And the one that wasn't in the newsletter that is actually kind of cracked now, especially with this amount of buffs, we're getting 1,500 health on the modified Rick Dija. EX boost going to level 2, meaning that's instead of a 6-second boost timer, you have 15 seconds of boosting around. That is insane. Melee control level 2, which is absolutely disgusting. That's so much extra utility and maybe some more damage depending on the reductions per hit. Then weapon switching time has been shortened for the beam sabers, the double beam sabers. It also got ranged attack boost at level 2 and melee boost at level 2, which is always nice. Clay Bazooka Shrapnel now is the custom. What does this mean? Every little shrapnel pellet is now doing 150 damage right out the gate. And it has 300 range rather than 150, which is kind of crazy. And we have stagger accumulation value is increased. I mean, that just sounds insane. Yeah, I mean, it's just good. This thing is just good. Like, I already thought it was fine, but apparently from stats, it was not. I can't wait to get out there in this thing, and I really wish I had the level 1 on either PC or console, because I'm in there. Obviously, this isn't in yet on PC, but when this hits on there, I definitely want this suit. This looks insane. Hammurabi, mainly getting some extra stats and stuff. It's getting a little bit of range damage. I can't remember if it's across the board. I'm looking here. I think it's mainly level 2. Okay, there we go. Level 3 and up is getting ranged and melee boost. Maneuver armor level 3 at level 1 though, which is kind of surprising. That's really nice. So you can do a little bit more on the approach and not get knocked out of the air, hopefully. Then we have 2,000 increased health. And then Flight Control Program 3, which is okay, I guess. Level 2 getting Sea Serpent damage, and that's about it. Now, what we can see here is that its survivability is kind of low, so they're trying to fix that. You know, it is what it is. It's got power creeped a little bit, so they're still looking at it. It's one of those that if you see one, person's probably cracked in it, so that person's probably going to be happy. But overall, I still think there's better suits out there that you're going to use at 600 and probably a little bit easier, especially if you're scrolling up and looking at some of the other buffs. Literally the 2 above it, all I'm saying. Then we have the Gunner Gundam, and I am so disappointed. The Gunner Gundam here only getting level 3 damage for ranged, and then I looked at the gun, so we're getting a better gun even before the pre-buff for its overheat time. But is the heat rate going to compensate for the damage that we lost? So it lost focused fire damage across the board. A pretty okay, like not really that bad, but a decently significant nerf, all things considered, especially at the time. And it never got reversed. So the overheat, not only did it get reversed, but it got buffed, which is nice. 15 seconds, that's kind of cool. Now with the heat rate, if you cannot overheat, you can definitely get a little bit more damage out, and might be pretty worth as far as that goes. You get actually enough damage from that, then fine. If we're better than what we was, cool. Because honestly, I think they could reverse the nerfs, and then they could buff it. And if that's what they've done here, then I'm okay with that. The main thing, though, is it looks like the level 2 is getting the focused fire nerf reversed. Why not at level 1? I don't see why that would be a problem. Then the sensor pod is the same one that they have on the Bolinoak, which is the one I don't really care for too much. Now, again, you're not playing a raid going in behind and going after the support. And, you know, you're not trying to be a stealth boy like the Isaac, so you don't necessarily need the Isaac's one, so it might be pretty okay. But at the same time, I don't know, I don't care for that sensor pod as much as I do the Isaac one, and I would prefer to see that one on suits, especially supports. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm really curious to see the stats on this, and, you know, there might be those people that just play the gunner that are insanely excited now, so there are those people out there. It's like when I get the Dawn Barrage buff. Every time there's a Dawn Barrage buff, I'm super hyped. And sadly, this is going to be the end of the list of supports here with the GM Sniper 2, gaining some range damage at all levels and precision shelling, which is kind of okay. And the power of the 75mm sniper rifle has been increased by 100 damage, 12-second reload instead of 15, and stagger value accumulation, which is kind of nice. Now, overall, I don't think this is enough to really fix it. This just feels like they're going back to an older suit and giving it a little bit of love to bring it up a little bit. But if you are, again, a Sniper 2 main and that's your suit, definitely going to be happy with this. You're probably wanting a little more considering these stats, but, you know, it's a good start. Definitely go back and look at suits. It's always nice. Probably way more on the ground Gundam, just saying. That one up there looked kind of oof as far as how much it looked like it needed. But that is it for the buffs and nerfs. So let's go ahead and go into the PC stuff. For anybody on console, thanks for watching. There's that, you know, all the usual stuff and things. But let's go into the PC one, and here we go. We are getting a double banner here with the Sinanju and the Virulent Custom. At level 1, the Virulent Custom is pretty nice. On PC, it would be very interesting to see how that plays out because of, you know, people being able to shoot a little bit better. As far as I get consistently knocked out of the air with a lot of suits, even a lot of flyers, it feels kind of interesting with that. And, you know, I think the Virulent Custom is definitely the losing one in this situation. And personally, I think the Virulent Custom needs a buff. I'm just saying. I don't think it's 4-star material. Buff it, please. Especially since there's 3 levels of the thing in the game. It's a little ridiculous that there's 3 of it. All I'm saying. Then the Sinanju. Really good suit. I would love to have this on PC. I can definitely aim and boost at the same time so much easier than I do on console. I really want this thing. Because, for those who don't know, on PC, the Sinanju, when you pop its skill by doing the touchpad or on keyboard Q, you actually end up getting a I stun anything while boosting with my beam rifle. Actually, it might just be I stun anything with the beam rifle. But the point is, you can boost at somebody and fire it at the same time, which you can't normally just boost and fire. So you boost, fire, you're guaranteed to stun no matter what it is. I guess unless they have a get out of stun free thing, or they do their quick turn or something where they can actually negate the stun. But if it doesn't matter what their damage control is, they will be stunned. If they have shock dampener, they are stunned. It is insane. And then you can follow up with a knockdown melee if you want to swap to that. You can start a melee combo if it's a support. You got 3 melee weapons. It is actually pretty disgusting, and I really want it on PC for sure. So I might do a couple into that. Just saying. Next we have the Alex Chobham Armor, and overall I still think this needs a buff. We have not gotten a buff on the PlayStation. I really would love to know its stats, how well it's doing, but I do think it needs a buff. Now, overall, this is one of those suits that I think if you get it, you're probably going to really love it or you're really going to hate it. It definitely has its own unique playstyle. It does have a really cool skill with the ballistic version of what the Delta Gundam has, where the ballistic stuns while the armor is on will prevent the stun. The thing is, at 450 even these days, you're not really getting these ballistic hits that you would be expecting to take this in. A lot of times the supports are what hitting you with ballistic, and even then they're doing more build-up stun than actual straight-up stun. Like a lot of times I fought it with the Dawn Barrage. I'll normally destroy the armor, and then my Gatling is doing true damage to it because all it gets for prevention is it just being arrayed. You literally lose all of your ballistic armor when that Chobham Armor breaks. That's the big downside with it. Overall though, I'd say it's probably a decently solid suit. You do have the ability to do what a raid needs to do. You got a punch, and you got 2 beam sabers, unlike the normal Alex, which is really nice. Other than that, though, you do have the normal weapons of the Alex, so you can do some decent range damage with the beam rifle, and you can do okay with the Gatling arm gun as well. So it does have an okay set of weapons for its kit, but again, a little conflicting with what it's going against these days, because as soon as too many generals with beams get on you, you're kind of done, and without a dodge roll like the Alex, there's not much you can do there. Damage control and maneuver armor do help, but they don't go far enough. I don't see why, since it is a raid, that it couldn't have, a dodge roll. This isn't the GOG, for crying out loud, right? So yeah, maybe that's what they do in the future, or maybe they try to help out some way of giving it damage control 2 or something. That might be a little bit better. That way the build-up stuns don't hurt it as much. But half the time you're just getting stun locked by beams anyway, and if you didn't get your active guard off in time, then you're just getting really bullied by generals. Again, if this is a suit you've really been looking forward to or wanted to have in the game, there is that too. I do get that. Hopefully they end up buffing it soon on PC and making it a little better, because as far as it goes, for the most part, it hasn't been showing up too much, and I don't really see it on PlayStation hardly at all these days. And then we got another banner with the Hazenfleet level 2. Again, it's one of those things when you get a higher level, it's definitely typically a less effective suit. So at that point you're getting into 650, which is some pretty heavy hitters at that point. I don't think the Hazenfleet really does as well there, but if you are a fan of the 600 one, there's a banner that you can get the 650 as well. And the cool thing about these banners is you can get the level 1 as well when they put these banners in. So if you want to try for the level 1, you can that as well if you didn't want a raid or going for the Sinanju. Other than that, there is the recycle tickets. Stutzer Rigdom, the main gimmick here is it poops out a bunch of bombs and they do quite a bit of damage. You then have the dick punch thing that the Zaku Stutzer has as well, and you have some missiles for an okay stun build-up. Definitely going to probably pick this one up myself. I love this suit. It is a ton of fun to play. Now, is it the most meta? Probably not. So if you're at the point still of saving your tickets and you don't know what to spend your tickets on, probably a save here. But I love this suit. It's a ton of fun to play around, and on PC right now where people don't know what it is, I'm probably going to exploit that a little bit and see if I can have some funny clips. That's my motivation of playing it. Other than that, though, it is a 400 cost suit that is solid, and you can definitely frontline as a general can and needs to do anyway pretty well. Then in the DP store, we got the GM3 powered level 1 and 2, the Agdoga Quest level 1 and 2, which sadly they've tried to buff it. It still needs a buff. Again, support things, so this one's really not that worth it. Again, DP store stuff, so free currency, just play the game, you can get it. Power GM feels pretty good. You can definitely do a downswing tackle, downswing combo, really nice there. And then the Faz level 3, kind of memeing at that point, but personally I'm a fan of the Faz level 1 and 2. They definitely did a really good job buffing it with the damage control, and I definitely want to try it when I get the chance on PC to see how it feels, especially with more people hitting me, because they can seem to hit their shots better. Overall, though, that is it, guys. Pretty long video here. Let me know in the comments, though, what you thought about everything from the buffs, nerfs, PlayStation version, PC version. Any and all thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. But that'll be it for this one, guys. Usual stuff in the description. Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, TikTok. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all of that. But that'll be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Peace.